Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Well, we're starting off the end of year content a little bit early. Ever since I've had a channel, I've really wanted to do like a prediction and reaction to the Goodreads Choice Awards winners in the romance category, so that's what we're gonna do today. They were just announced, the nominees for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I use Goodreads, that's where I primarily track my reading. I've been on Goodreads since 2010, so a good while. And I know like the site has its flaws, but I personally enjoy using it, and that's where I track my reading. That's where I go to check reviews, and I just like it. So let's go ahead and talk about some of my predictions, what I feel like are going to be some books that I think are going to be on there. Okay, so the Goodreads Choice Awards are for a year, so the only books that are eligible are if they were published in the United States. Even if they were translated, it has to be published in the United States. It almost always has to be a Goodreads verified author. And the calendar year is from like November 17th of 2021 to November 15th of 2022, which is today. So if a book was published today, it could still technically be on the nominees list, which I think is interesting. So in years past, it's usually been dominated by traditionally published books, and hardly ever has there been a mass market historical romance in the final running. Sometimes they show up in the nominations, but usually they don't. So I think that the books that we'll see, I think for sure we will see some Colleen Hoover. I know she's had at least 2 books. I read one of them earlier this year. I have no interest in reading her newest release. I think we will probably see Jennifer L. Armentrout on here. I think there's a chance we will see Sarah J. Maas's book, even though that one is definitely more of a fantasy with a romantic element. It's The House of Sky and Breath. I think we will probably see, there's an Anita Kelly book that I think we may see on here. I think we might see Delilah Green on here. I think we will probably see, I think we'll for sure see Emily Henry on here. I think we will absolutely see her book on here. I think we'll also see Abby Jimenez, her new book. I think for indie romances, there's a good chance that we will see Sarah Kate, Anna Huang. I think for sure Kennedy Ryan's book, Before I Let Go, will be on here, and if it's not, it's a freaking tragedy. It does count because it was published today, so that's one of those books where I'm like, it would be funny. I think for sure it's going to be on the list. It will count for this year. If it's not, it's a crying shame, because it would be disqualified for next year because it would be published before the date. So that one I'm thinking for sure is going to be on here. So going back to indie romances, I think there's a good chance we see some Lauren Asher. I'm trying to think of what other books really were popular, because it's undeniably a popularity contest. And I think that's where a lot of books sort of fall short for me, because I feel like the romance awards should probably be dominated by huge romance readers, are the ones who we're choosing, but I mean that's not very fair of me to say. So I think there's a chance we see Nora Roberts on here too. I don't actually know what her releases for this year have been. I'm trying to think of indie romance authors other than Sarah Kate and Anna Huang that I think would be on here. I think there's a chance Emma Scott might be on here. Lauren Asher, probably Emily McIntyre for whatever she put out. I think those Hunting Adelaide, those ones may be on here. Those were super popular. I'm just talking about what is popular and what I think is going to be nominated. These aren't books that I think should be on. We'll get to that later. So those are some of what I expect to see on here. I know I'm just sort of dropping names of authors. When we go through the actual nominees, we'll see what actually is on there, and I'll put some pictures up here so you guys can see them. So, let's see, I'm trying to think of if there was, I know there was like an Alexandria Bastion book that was on there. I think we will probably see Alexis Hall on here too. I think there's a chance we see the husband one that he wrote. I dearly hope A Lady for a Duke is on here. I would love to see that on here, but I think it's doubtful. I think it's more likely husband material. I think that's the title. And I think he had another release, Something Fabulous or something like that. That one might be here. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. And I will tell you if I know, because I didn't like write notes of who I predicted. I'm just kind of going off of my memory, which isn't that great. I'm sure there are a lot of books that won't surprise me that I see on there, but they just left my brain at this moment. So I will let you know which books I'm surprised by made the list and which ones that I'm not. All right, let's go ahead. I have my computer right here. I'm going to open it up and we're going to look at who's been nominated for romance and if I agree with them or not. All right, let's see. So here's the romance category. I do see one on here that I see a couple on here that I'm like, oh, I should have known for sure. Okay, so the books on here, I'm not going to be able to share my screen with you, so I am just going to put the covers up here and I'll go kind of slowly. So, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. This is a book that I am actually very interested in reading, and it's been on, like, I have this saved on Scribd because I want to listen to the audio. I think it's going to be fantastic. I hear this is sort of like, this is a blend of literary fiction and romance, and that is my favorite thing in the whole world. So I have really high expectations. I think that's one I definitely want to read. Also, I'm going to say that I think there are 13 days from when the nominees are released to when they actually tell you who the final people are, so you can vote on them. So I'm going to pick a few, probably two, and that I haven't read on here just to kind of see what I think of them. And that's definitely one. That is one I want to read for sure. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. But that one is by Akwaeke Emezi, I think. I deeply apologize if I did not look that up beforehand, and I should have. The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. I'm not at all surprised that she is on here. Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey is an author that when I was thinking about doing this video, I'm like, Tessa Bailey for sure is going to be on there. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. That was a book I had forgotten. I'm not surprised to see it on there. I haven't read that one yet either. Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I actually have heard very little about this book. I'm assuming this is a traditionally published one. Yeah, it looks like it is, because the Kindle book is $10, so usually that means they're traditionally published. I don't really know what that one is about. It looks a little bit like this one may be a blend of like a literary fiction and romance, so funny you should ask. That one I've heard a little about. It does kind of surprise me that it's on here. It surprises me only because I haven't heard a lot about it, but when you look at the ratings, it has 50,000 ratings. I'm not surprised that that's on here. Like, all of these books so far, like, Every Summer After has 173,000 ratings. Things We Never Got Over has 200,000 ratings. Hook, Line, and Sinker, 166,000 ratings. The Wedding Crasher, that one, surprisingly, only has 16,000 ratings. That one is not very many. Also, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, 16,000 ratings. So I'm going to tell you how many ratings they have because, like I said, this is largely a popularity contest, unfortunately. Love on the Brain, that doesn't surprise me. I don't remember if I mentioned Ellie Hazelwood or not, but for sure, I'm not surprised at all that she's on here. That one has 125,000 ratings. I just recently read that and I thought it was fun. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I've heard very little about this. I've seen the cover. I've heard about it here and there. It has a ton of ratings, 57,000 ratings. The American Roommate Experience. I think that this one, yeah, this is by the author of The Spanish Love Deception. I haven't read either of those, and I really honestly have no interest in reading either one of those. That one has 42,000 ratings. Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, 88,000 ratings. I am kind of surprised that it's Twisted Hate that's on here. I wonder if we'll see another one of hers on here because there is, have we had Colleen Hoover yet? No, we haven't, but there is a Colleen Hoover on here for sure. So I'm kind of surprised that it's Twisted Hate, even though I feel like Twisted Hate is one of those where people either love it or hate it. I loved it, no surprise. Dating Dr. Dill is on here by Nisha Sharma. That's 32,000. I actually was thinking that one may be on here too. Book Lovers by Emily Henry, 437,000 ratings. That's the highest rated book on here we've seen so far. I want to read that one for sure. Okay, this is an interesting one. I haven't even heard of this before. This is Thank You for Listening by Julia Whalen. She's an audiobook narrator. She wanted to be a film star. That's all I'm going to read into that. 15,000 ratings. That's a very interesting choice. It Starts With Us, Colleen Hoover, no surprise. This one just recently released and already has 230,000 ratings. Part of Your World, Abby Jimenez, not surprised at all. 62,000 ratings. Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. 87,000 ratings for that one. That's a very popular series. Delilah Green Doesn't Care. 29,000. This one is a sapphic romance. I'm super happy to see that on here because as far as I'm aware, wow. As far as I am aware, I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I would be delighted. As far as I am aware, that is the only LGBTQ book on here. That's kind of upsetting. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. No, that's not the only. Well, that one is by a Black author. There is some diversity in the authors in here. Dating Dr. Dill. She's a wonderful. I follow her on TikTok and she's absolutely delightful. Nisha Sharma. Okay, let's see. Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I do want to read that. That one may be one that I pick. 29,000 ratings. Aaron Sterling, The Kiss Curse. This one surprises me. I read the first one and thought it was very mid. I have no desire to read this one at all. I mean, it surprises me in the way that I don't feel like this book was super popular. It only has 17,000 ratings, so I guess it's popular enough. But it also surprises me because I feel like it's just so mid. But, I mean, we could probably say that for a lot of them. Okay, so Colleen Hoover has 2 books on here. The other one is Reminders of Him, which I did read. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was very okay. It was fine. This book specifically, I know Colleen Hoover has said this one isn't a romance, and I really hate how they keep putting more of her books in romance, even though they're not. This book is just a fiction book. I wouldn't even call this women's fiction. It's really just about the heroine who went to prison, got separated from her daughter. She went to prison for a mistake, a tragic mistake. That's what it says in the blurb. She got separated from her daughter, and then it's her... There is a romance, but it's definitely more about the woman and her daughter than it is the romance. So, I mean, I'm not surprised because it's Colleen Hoover, but I also feel like there are so many books on here that they're not including, and I'm just really, really sad about that. So, and then the next one is Electric Idol by Katie Robert, which I read, and I thought it was 2 stars. I just don't love Katie Robert. I don't love her books at all. Her writing style is just not for me. I tried to really like her. I know she's super well loved, but I don't think there's really anything special about her books, personally. But, you know, unpopular opinion. So, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 20 books. And let's see. So I could be mistaken, but the only LGBTQ book that's on there is Delilah Green Doesn't Care. And I am happy that it's a sapphic romance. So that one I'm going to read. That one is a book that I will read for sure. And maybe I'll come back and report once they do the final. I will do a follow-up video when they have like the finals. And if there are any in that final group that I still haven't read, then I will read those and do a video or a vlog about them. So Delilah Green Doesn't Care is the only LGBTQ. Those ones, let's see how many here. Honestly, I'm not sure if Thank You for Listening is an indie romance or not. I'm gonna say it's not. It looks like it is not. Because the Kindle is. Kindle book is a lot. Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher and Anna Huang. As far as I am aware, those are the only indie romances on here that I know of. Well, Things We Never Got Over was. Okay, so we have Things... Okay, so Things We Never Got Over was indie. I don't believe that any on that second row are Things We Never Got Over, Twisted Hate, Terms and Conditions. I mean, Reminders of Him, Reminders of Him is in KU. I don't even want to say that Colleen Hoover is an indie author. I mean, she obviously started out as indie, but she's so much of a household name now that I feel like even if she produces an indie published book, like, is she really an indie author? Anyway, that is pretty disappointing. I actually was thinking that even though Sarah Kate's books are super duper steamy, I have not read those yet. I don't know if I will, to be quite honest. I feel like they probably are... Well, I do actually want to read Praise. I do want to read Praise for sure. That's a book that I want to read by the end of the year. I was thinking, my theory in picking her and Anna Huang specifically was they were both very, very popular, but they also both got picked up for traditional publishing. So I assumed that they would be on here. Probably my biggest disappointment is that Before I Let Go isn't on here. And that may just have to do with the publication date. If that book had been published earlier in the year, it probably would be. I'm hoping it would be on here. I really, really am, like, very much hoping that it would be on here. I mean, there's not a ton of diversity in these romance books that have been picked, and Mia Sosa, I believe, is a diverse author. I don't really know much about her, so I'm not going to speak on that. Akwaeke Emezi is, who wrote You Made a Fool of Death. And then Nisha Sharma, Anna Huang. Yeah, it is interesting, not surprising. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be a common thought, but that's just overwhelmingly traditionally published romances, straight romances, and by white people, you know. So, interesting. Okay, so the books that I for sure want to read, I want to read all of these, but I'm going to tell you the ones that I definitely want to prioritize. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I have a feeling I'm going to love this book. Like, I just have a feeling I'm going to. I just do. It sounds like exactly what I love. So that one, I don't actually even know what it's about, other than I told you, like, lit fic mixed with romance. That's what I've heard about it based on one TikTok by the author, but it was enough to sell me on it. I also want to read Things We Never Got Over. I have that on audio. I have read Hook, Line, and Sinker. I have read Love on the Brain, so that's 2 of these books that I have read. I've read Twisted Hate. I also really want to read Part of Your World. Yeah, so I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only read 5 of those. 5 out of 20. That's not very great. For someone who reads almost exclusively romance, 5 out of 20, it's kind of... it's not necessarily making me feel bad, because these aren't the type of romances that I love. But anyway, okay, so the books I'm going to read: Things We Never Got Over, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, Part of Your World for sure, and then Delilah Green Doesn't Care. So those 4 I'm going to prioritize, and I think that we have 13 days, I think they said, 2 weeks-ish, until they announce the final nominees for the final round. So I'm going to go ahead and vote, and the one that I'm going to vote for is going to have to be one that I read, and so it's definitely going to be Anna Huang's. So I'm going to vote for Twisted Hate, because I loved that book, and I love Anna Huang, and I want her to win so badly. So I am very excited that Jennifer L. Armentrout wasn't in there. She's probably in the fantasy category. I don't really keep a close eye on her anymore, because I don't love her books. I used to enjoy her books when I was younger. So yeah. All right. There we go. Those are the nominees. Those are my reactions to it. Now my prediction. My prediction for who will win. Let's see. I have a feeling it's going to be Colleen Hoover, and I think it's probably going to be It Starts With Us. I am predicting that is going to be the winner. I think nobody would be surprised about that. Yeah, that's my pick. I think it's going to be It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I think there's a chance Love on the Brain gets it, but I feel like overwhelmingly it's, okay, so I think it's either going to be Book Lovers by Emily Henry, who wins, or It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. And I think there's a chance Love on the Brain wins. I actually don't know how many. I think it's 5 that they get for their final nominees. So, all right. This is part 1 of this video series. I will read these 4 books that I have on the screen. I will read these 4 books within the next 13 days. And then we will come back here when they have announced the final nominees. And we'll see if any of those made it in. And we will talk about my final prediction for the Goodreads Choice Awards winner. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Also, let me know what if you want to, what your pick would be out of those. If you voted or if you plan to vote, I would love to know it. So, All right, my friends, I'll see you all in my next video.